Bring that back, baby. All right. You are here live with Psychesoap. I got no silly effects. I got no this. I got no that. Um, I just got a few minutes here that I'm gonna spend with you and talk about the the thing of distrust. And what I have up here is called Distrust Among the Generations. Dag. There's a wide trust among the generations. There's a wide distrust among people. And there's more than just the distrust among generations, like my title hints upon. There's more than that. There's a distrust among people, a giant, glaring, blaring distrust. And right now, I don't give a shit if I'm just talking to myself about it. We'll do that then. Because I got love for my replay gang. My replay gang, they're gonna come back here and watch it. They're gonna dig upon it. And they'll check it out on their time and on their level. And when they get a chance and when they got the time. And I'm recording this on the 7th of January. 2024. This is the time of recording, and I call it Music Day, aka Happy Dilla Day, and I dedicate this episode to James DeWitt Yancey. Despite all you Dilla haters and JD haters that are out there and don't give a shit, what's up to those that are in the chat that just got here? I just started about a couple minutes ago. You don't worry, you ain't missed nothing. I'm going to talk about the distrust among people, you know. And yeah, the title says distrust among generations, but I'm going to talk about distrust among people. And like I said in the description, there is no distrust among races. There's no distrust among parties, political parties. There's no distrust among boomers, and there isn't just a distrust among boomers, millennials, and Gen Xers, the forgotten ones and the forgotten sons. And that's the generation I represent. But this isn't just for me and my generation. This is for all of you men. You know what I'm saying? Because I do this shit for men. And thank you for being here, by the way. But to be honest with you, if it was just me here, it'd just be me here ruminating on this topic. And it pisses me off, man. That, and I noticed this too, how, people how you see yourself is different from how everyone outside of you sees themselves. And over the years, I've seen a lot of motherfuckers, a lot of people, a lot of men and women. Um, when I get out here offline and IRL, I see a lot of um fuckers just ignoring what I say, acting like they're deaf when they're really fucking not. Um, I see, how they got folks with Napoleon complexes where they they think they're, larger than life, and they put their what do they call that? Oh, I'm over here crackling. Let me sit down and talk about this. They got, folks with Napoleon complexes where they're like they try to say something to another person, and they could be the total opposite of them. They could be who white women, they could be black women, they could be black men who white men, and all points in between. But they act as though they can't hear you, knowing you were projecting your voice, right? Like, they could be as close as to my mouth is to this microphone, or closest to um you from this screen on your smart devices or your computers, and they act as though they can't hear you. They try to make you repeat yourself and shit, and that pisses me the fuck off. And trolls, if you want an easier way to piss me off, Yeah, ask me to repeat myself or ask me what I say when clearly you are right there closest to me and you got on earphones. For example, if you are, checking out this podcast, aka live, and you're listening to me, but or you're hearing me, but you're not listening, right? The communication's off, and I'm saying it's something as simple as how you doing. And they go, huh? And you're not mumbling. You ain't mumbling. You ain't far away or anything like that. You're really close to where they can hear you. And like I said, you know how folks think folks like me get a Napoleon complex because I'm under 5'10", you know. I'm a little shorter than that. And people get to treating you like you're less than, and they marginalize you, and they're stuck in kindergarten where if you're small then you are to be treated as though you are less than, like you're nothing, like you should be marginalized, like you should repeat what you say because I'm the tall guy in the room, I got the bigger stature. Well, men and women of every stripe here in America tend to act like that when I'm around them. And I know I'm speaking to you. And I know I can be heard. And I know I'm not a soft spoken individual. Right. And I had an epiphany today. I get it. They don't have the Napoleon complex. The shit that a lot of content creators in this space accuse me of having, or a lot of people outside here accuse me of having. No, it's that a lot of y'all have a Gulliver complex. The giant Gulliver and lives among these smaller shrunken people when it's really that motherfucker the giant. And here's an example where they get to asking now this is just an example, this didn't happen in real life, but this is an example here when a person's dealing with me, and when I'm on a podcast or on a panel or something, and I go and I say a little something, they'll talk over me. There's one example. And two, they'll ask who around here can make a beat, who could make a beat, because I'm doing this one rap right now, and I would like for somebody to make a beat. And sure as shit, when I start talking, when I want to volunteer, they it's not the person they want to hear answer that question, but they overlook me, but they are basically just waiting for the person that they want to make them the beat to talk in this example. And they ignore me, they steamroll me shit, and they wait for that motherfucker there to talk. And I'm gonna tell you, and they get this what I call the Gulliver complex, where the motherfucker is too tall in stature, and they big, and they're big and tall, and they only want to hear anyone that they can see at eye level. Anybody under that, they don't want to hear him or her. They don't want to hear that person. They're less than to them. They'll ignore everything that motherfucker say. And they do that sort of shit there, and they take it with them in real life. They take it with them offline, and they treat people like myself, and they ask that smaller person in stature um to repeat themselves, knowing good and goddamn well that motherfucker's right there across from you. They're at a level to where you can read their lips, by the way, and their volume is not soft spoken. It's well projected and it's well said, right? Now, everyone else around you here's where it's really a glaring example. Everyone else around that person can hear that smaller person, but that tall person can't. It's acting, it's playing a role, you know? Now, I'm not going to say it's lookism. I'm not even going to say it's racism. I'm not even going to say it's wokeism in this example. I'm just going to say it's a distrust. There's a distrust of these type of people to them, and they don't think that that person is worthy to speak with them. I mean, how narcissistic is that? How narcissistic is that shit? But I put myself in I then put myself in an empath's shoes. I start to get empathy for that person, and I think, well, if I was this idiot, what would I do? And probably I shouldn't really use the word idiot in this case because we're going on empathy, right? We want to see where that person is coming from. So I'm playing the empath now. Let's play empathic people, right? And we're putting themselves in that shoes, in that person's shoes, and they're and here I am, the 6'9" person, right? And I meet up with a person that's 5'9", or that's a manlet in their eyes, and that's another thing too. That's a reflection of distrust of people like that. They're manlets or they're normies and they're less than, And this ain't about height. This can be about skin color, really, but we vanquished for the most part racism, except for when it's what they used to call, what right wingers used to call reverse discrimination, and where they're doing it. And it's a distrust where, if they're not people that they're familiar with, they're gonna distrust them. They're going to, and I'm gonna distrust them if they're not from my. Yeah, we're going back to the empathy scenario. They're a person I don't trust. They're not someone that I usually kick it with. They're not, um, they're not my type of person that I would kick it with. They're wokeists. I mean, in this case, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna wear the far right wingers hat, and I'm going to play this role and say that this person is less than and not worth being around. But I'm like, but then I get out of that person and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a good existence to have, you know? No wonder, the fake and goofy folks, the LGHDTV folks, get to dissing a person like you because you're in distrust of someone different from you. And no wonder they call you a racist. No wonder they call you xenophobic and homophobic and all of that shit. Now, I'm not trying to tell you to just keep your mind all the way open and trust everyone. I get it. But somewhere in there, bro, you gotta drop the distrust. Give a person a chance before you can label them as Zog or label them as manlets or label them as, dare I say, maggots. Something that rhymes with maggots and shit, because you can tell I'm dancing around. I'm trying to get that warning chopped off of my channel. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say. But damn, at least give the motherfucker a chance to prove themselves before they do. And I get it. Some people right off the bat do get off that way. They do act like that. Don't be too quick though, however, to label someone with that shit. You know? Even though, and let me put this in a manospheric context, right? And don't try to correct me, brothers, when I say this. Don't get in my little comments or get in the chat and go, well, you should have said it this. No, 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 no. Don't do that. See where I'm coming from first before you get on the distrustful offensive. First, give that motherfucker something. Let that motherfucker say something, because you never know that somewhere in that person that you're about to distrust has something in common with you. And every day I go out here into these panels or in real life and shit like that, let a person say something for a little while. Give them a chance before you get to writing them off as Zog or whatever the fuck, you know? Give them a chance, cuz I get it, Um I get it, y'all. The entertainment industry hates you. And don't just get on the offensive and go that, and I know here, man, I'm black. I'm totally different from a lot of you in this space, because a lot of you are white, a lot of you are libertarian, a lot of you, which is basically old wine and poured in new bottles. You're just Republicans rebranded. And don't tell me nothing different, because I know what's up, you know. Now, These wokeists, I used to be them. But listen, brother, just because I used to be them doesn't mean I'm always them. Don't wait for a moment where I'm caught in a compromising position to tell me that once a wokey or once a lefty or once a commie, always a commie. No, it's not that simple, bruh. You know? And to keep it real with you, white man, a lot of this shit you been on, and Dave Chappelle was right about this shit. A lot of this shit y'all on, black people have been black men, not people, but black men have been experiencing that long before you were. You hear the expression that we were the canaries in the coal mine? Now, mind you, I gotta check myself before I wreck myself. Cause see what I just said? I did what the wokey was trying to do. I did what the wokest was trying to do. And that's put my struggle in higher regard than yours just because I'm black and you're white. No, that's not right. You know, we're both men. We both go through the same fuck shit. We both can be raked over the coals in a divorce or a child court proceeding. There's a distrust among the generations too. Like, and I've told a few of my brothers that, and a lot of them are millennials. And some are nearly Gen Xers, but a lot of my millennials, a lot of them are really older, and a lot of y'all are starting to turn 40. I've been 40 for a long time, but a lot of y'all are starting to turn 40 now. But don't make no mistake. I'm not like you know who and want to diss any millennial that comes to my channel and shit like that. I don't want to diss your culture. I don't want to say a lot of this started because of y'all. You know, and in many cases, and to keep it all the way funky, you're suffering from the same thing the boomers are suffering from, except you got internet and you grew up with internet for most of your life. All right. But then again, y'all have been getting a bad rap because you didn't start this shit. You didn't start in this. You didn't come in here with the same purpose of ruining everybody around you. No, it's not really your fault. Dare I say it's not really a lot of you boomers' fault. Because if you really look at it, some of you boomers are like, some of you boomers have been deceived. Some of y'all motherfuckers have been really led astray, and which caused you to squander your inheritance from the silent generation, fuck up whatever you earned, you yourself, boomer, and then you squandered every generation. You borrowed against every generation that came after you, and you squandered that shit too and hogged it for yourself. Now keep in mind, that is wrong. And I see why there's a distrust against boomers. I get it. But this ain't really the case. Not all boomers are like bad. When you go onto the offensive and you say that these boomers ain't shit, I mean, in droves and in general, that's not how an intelligent man carries himself. You know, this makes you, whether you're Gen X, whether you're a millennial, whether you're a Gen Z person, or shit, if you a little Generation Alpha child, which are usually like toddlers at this point, you know, that doesn't make, you know, that doesn't make it right to shit on a boomer. That doesn't make it right to shit on a millennial. Because these two generations are getting a lot of the bad rap, and a lot of it is coming from my generation, Gen X. And Gen X, y'all are no better or y'all no different either. Because a lot of you motherfuckers, the older you are, the more like a boomer, the quintessential boomer, you act. And the younger you are, the more millennial you tend to act. So, calm that generational bullshit down. You know, learn how to trust in your fellow man, regardless of what generation they come from. Now, I get it. Back in the day, it was perfect. Yeah, I mean, in a general sense, all these things were perfect for us. Things were great for us. We grew up without internet. We were latchkey kids. We had independence, in the most loosest form I can put it. We had independence before everyone else did. We had independence before everyone else did. And in that sense. but that gives you no right to shovel shit on all of the generations around you. And sometimes I don't like to get into a generational discussion because it makes us sound and look like pieces of shit, you know. And a lot of you that just got in, and yo, big up, I see you, you know. What up to y'all that happened upon Soap Stream? Some of you ran away. Some of you were even boomers and millennials yourself, and had that distrust for what I just said. You're doing no different. You're doing nothing but proving my motherfucking title of this whole discussion's point. You know, those that change the channel and those that run away, you know, or those that go away. I kind of, and by the way, those that did just make it here, throw the link on in there, you know, to this YouTube and come and chill with me because this might be the longest rumination yet. And get this, I'll even ruminate with you to this level. Check it for the record. I'll even turn this thing off right here, bring this on over here to me, put the focus on me for now, and throw the link up here and give a little Q&A on this. Maybe I'm off base. Maybe I'm talking out my ass. But come on through. I threw it up here. Hell yeah, you know what's up. There you go. You know, if you don't want to, if you scared, stay your ass right there. Or, you know, if you're not scared, that's cool. Sit there and listen. It's all right. Take a note or two, you know, and listen to me or whoever decides to come in and see where we're going to go with it. All right. And I would like to do that with you, you know, and talk about this particular topic, you know. Maybe I was rambling about lookism and shit that an incel would usually complain about. Maybe I'm off base on that. Call me out on it, you know. And for those that can't do it because they're listening on podcast mode, I get it. Don't worry about it. You know, keep it locked down. And for those that are watching and know they can get their ass on over here, get your ass on over here. And I'll even pick up one of your sayings here. Shinobi One came in here and big up, how you doing? And he says, I guess by the way I act, I wouldn't know. I get nervous when I call in the shows. This is a low audience call in. Yeah, and you get it this way. You're talking to me. You're talking to me. You're just talking to me on the phone. It's kind of like that, you know. Don't be shy or scared or afraid. And if you don't, and you just podcast mode and want to listen, that's fine too. Go ahead and do that. You know, that's fine. But but if you know you can get on here and you know you got some shit to say about the topic, bring your ass. Don't be scared. Matter of fact, don't bring your ass, bring your mind. Bring your mind. Cause I talk with you, I ain't gonna roast you or nothing. Cause I got nothing to roast about. You know. I just want to clear the air about it, get it off my chest. Flanders or whatever his name is, Flanders is gonna be Flanders, you know. He'll talk about the generations and he'll get drunk and you know, and he'll let you on. I'll give him that. He'll let you on. But to an extent, here's what we're gonna do different from over at his show. If you're a millennial, hey, speak your piece. You know, you want the chance to, you know, prove your generation wrong. Here's the time. Now is the time. Because when I turn this thing off to end the stream, don't come crying that you don't get a voice to speak with. As a matter of fact, I will agree with him on this one. A lot of y'all be doing some reckless bullshit and things you do in the culture is wrecking the culture, the American culture as a whole. You know, boomers too. You older and you know better, but you are wrecking the culture too. When you didn't have, oh, excuse me, I'm over here making a lot of noise, um, with my mic. But yeah, I'm gonna speak it to you right, and I'm gonna keep it raw and real as possible, and let you speak. And listen, I'm going to let you speak. Now, yeah, if and you know what else is really fucked up? A lot of y'all got distrust of the soap. Y'all don't trust me. A lot of y'all don't trust me. I'm not gonna say all of y'all, but because a lot of y'all is cool. A lot of y'all came through. A lot of y'all spoke with me. But you know, it's kind of funny how we can go to such and such stream, and based on they following and how many people are there, you were quick to want to get on, and you get on, and you talk over folks, and you don't say shit. Or you accuse me of being that guy when I'm really not. I'm trying to vibe with you and talk about the topic and try to keep it on point as much. But this rumination, I might keep it up or I might take it away. You know what I'm saying? I see you, Char. I see you. You may be Gen X, man. Get on here and rap. You know, get on here and rap. Don't be shy or scared. Don't, think I'm one of these other fellas. And I'm gonna give it about 30 seconds. All right. And you on second number one, you know? And once this shit goes to the next minute, I don't want to hear a motherfucking thing. I'm gonna turn the stream off. And if I get out of here, I remember every last one of you that have been in this stream. Because a lot of you have made comments. If you don't get up here and you know you got the means to get up here after I put up the link, but then I go onto another stream and I see you in there, and you talk your shit about the generations, and because you got a distrust of that generation, then look, you ain't nothing more than a pussy to me, and I don't even know why you subscribe to me. That's what I'm gonna see you to be from here on out. Not that you give a shit, and I don't want to marginalize you. I don't want to, if you're a millennial, it's cool. I'm not here to give you a bad rap. I'm here to give you a voice. If you're a boomer, I'm not here to to add more to the bad rap. I want to give you a voice because you're here, right? Get on over here. You got a stream yard. And we're almost done, bro. We're on 15 seconds. You got less than that to get on here. Because if you don't, you know what's up. You know what the fuck is up. And all right, we're down to 2-1. Boom. And now I bring to you on the stage the original Red Pill Renegade. And I don't even think I need to give him an introduction. Speak your
Man,
piece, brother.
what is up?
All right,
I
looks like I gotta tune up my shit. Keep on going. I'm gonna turn on
yeah.
my 80
You
phones.
know I'm
There we
gonna
go.
roll up in here for a few minutes.
Good. Right
You
on.
know,
See?
yeah.
Outlaws did it. Hell, may I tell y'all an outlaw don't even want to identify as such, but he's a millennial. I know.
Yeah.
Y'all have
Can't
been. I'm sorry, but yeah, you are. But don't let it bother
yeah.
you. You know.
Yeah, I don't claim that generation. Fuck them.
I know you don't, and I know why you don't. There's a growing distrust of that generation because they're the ones that are running it. They're
Yep.
the ones that are usually in the leadership positions these days. They are
Mm.
the ones that are, most of the leading and growing content creators on most of the platforms are from the millennial generation. And the shit that they've been saying lately has given them a bad rap. Now, on here, Shinobi, to speak with you. Now, if you got me on podcast mode, hey, you've even been on the show before, Shinobi, and that's okay. I mean, if you're on podcast mode, you get a pass. You know what I'm saying? You get a pass because some of us listen to the shows while we're at work, and we don't, we don't have a way to get on. We're listening to it through the phone, and we're at work or something like that, or you got the earbud on and everything, and that's cool. I'm not gonna hold that against you, but
Hmm.
that's what it is. I mean, there's a growing distrust among the generations because the boomers decide to hand the keys over to another generation, skipping the Gen Xers. And this is why the Gen Xers are butthurt. They got the middle child syndrome. You know, not
Mm,
much attention is being paid to them, and now they're starting to speak their shit. They're starting to talk their shit, but to keep it 100 with you there, Shinobi, not a lot of them are telling the truth either. A lot of those motherfuckers do sound like boomers. You know, a lot
mhm.
of them do. They take their little knowledge from the boomers, and that makes them no better than the boomers most of the time. And yeah, they scream this and that and the third about you know, the good old days. And I talk about the good times and the good old days too. I was a kid and a child of both the 80s and the 90s. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm,
came of age in the 90s technically, but I was a child in the 80s and I knew what the 80s was like. But that doesn't make you better or less than the boomers or the millennials. It really doesn't, Gen Xers. Keep it real. You know, I could easily say that it's your generation that's causing most of this fuck shit because you're scared to step in and make things right,
yep.
you know. And not a lot, you know, you talk about the good times and I whoop whoop about the good times with you, you know. But when it comes to the real subjects and where the ball was dropped, I can easily point at the Gen X's and say that you guys didn't, you know, take the ball away from them, strip the ball and run for the touchdown your way. You just let the boomers as well as the millennials run over your punk ass. I could say that about y'all too,
Mm,
you know. So that's what I'm tripping on, you know. Thank you for being on the longest rumination ever. I'm not going, you know, feel free to interrupt, feel free to speak your piece about it. And I see why you're not associating yourself with the millennials because most of the fucking world is giving them a bad rap. A lot of them get nostalgic and they put down millennials, not
mm,
knowing that a lot of you motherfuckers raised them. A lot of you motherfuckers created them,
yeah.
yet you won't take responsibility for them. You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that generation, my generation, I guess you'd call it, even
Hmm.
though I don't claim them.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, I guess there are some good things and there are some bad things with that generation that you know we're usually referred to as the trophy generation. Me
Hmm.
too, not me too, but everybody's a winner, which I
Hmm.
hate because losing builds character, and you got to have some loss in your life to appreciate the good times for one, but to also build character.
Hmm.
You learn more in losing than you do winning. Uh,
Hmm.
it is what it is, man. I
And
remember
you
when.
do.
Go ahead.
You remember when what?
No, I was gonna say I remember when that shit kind of started, where coaches started being like, "Okay, everybody's a winner now. Nobody's going home a loser." When George Bush come into office, I think it was George Bush that started that "No Child Left Behind,"
He did. The law was proposed and brought into law by him. Yeah.
which would have been, yeah, right in the middle of me being in middle and high school. So you had all kinds of people just losing incentive to want to do better, just
Hmm.
kind of right out in high school, and because it didn't matter if you failed class, you were gonna pass anyway, and they knew that. At some point, the people learned it, and they quit trying to better themselves and be smarter.
Yeah.
That's partially why I don't like the millennials, because once the participation trophy started, people stopped trying to better themselves and to try to better each other. Everybody got lazy and complacent, and that's why you don't award everybody with trophies. That's why
Right.
you let people win and you let people lose. And if they cry, oh well. It's the weak people crying anyway. What are you so scared of? Oh,
Mhm.
that's right. It's the laws. It ain't the people that they fear. It's the laws. It's the government behind them, incentivizing them, supporting them, funding them. Same thing with the LGBT, the BLMs, the feminists. It ain't these weak-minded people, these fat, overweight people that we're scared of. It's the government behind them.
Mhm.
It's the government
And
supporting them,
yeah,
campaigning them,
I
propagating them.
agree with it. I agree with that to an extent there, Outlaw. Though um, now I'm on the other side of the pyramid about it. What
Yeah,
it motivated the government to be this way? What started the government on this path? And I'd like to say it was the society in which the government grew up in, the generation that
sure,
government grew up in,
sure.
that was motivating the government, molding that government, preaching and soapboxing with the government. Dare I speak that box right there? But they get on their soapbox and they say what they want to say about it, and they repeat it and they say what they say, and then mum is the word once the law is passed. They
Yeah,
don't want to take responsibility for that particular way of thinking, knowing good and damn well it was they doggone that it was their generation, that it was their society that they grew up in is what brought this to be,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
which is and then Shinobi One, he say, my Gen X half brother got this song because he betrayed my boomer dad. Now I'm here as a millennial raising the generation after Zoomer. The family will grow stronger now that Gen X has been cut. All right. Now, Shinobi, if you're still in here, what year was your dad born in? And I'll tell you what it is. Because generations with me, I'm not a lot like others because they will go by, yes, World War II, which I agree. They'll start from there, from 1945 to 1965, and call those the boomers because there was a post-war baby boom. This is why they're called the baby boomers. And then there was the Gen X that went from 66 all the way up into 20 years from that. You fast forwarded to 86. So if
yeah,
you going by that, Outlaw, and you were born before the year 1986, that would technically make you a Gen Xer in my eyes. Now, if you were to
yeah.
go by, if you let people like, what is that? Fucking Wikipedia tell it, it would
Mhm.
be like, okay, generations. Go ahead, generations
Yeah,
of Western civilization.
yeah,
And we keep it going, and there you go. And then there's the history of Western civilization or modern, postmodern generations, right? Uh,
yeah.
Boomer, we'll go from there. Okay, there we go. There we go. And then I show you the um the series that they do, and then I'll darken it a bit for those that don't know, and I'll move that bad boy on, and show what it
Well,
is. Go
well,
ahead.
Demon Slayer, to answer him in the chat, yeah, I mean, our generation, even though we are millennials, I mean, we were the last generation to play outside, but have the internet available to us. So, yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about, working like that at a young age.
All right, and then I'll throw that visual up here for you. Now we go by this that I'm showing up here. Some of y'all can see it. For those, if I'm when I do put it on podcast mode, or for those that are listening on podcast mode, you don't get to see it. So I'll try to, as best as I can, visually explain it. And here you go. This would be the generations of postmodern Western civilization, starting with the lost generation, 1883, 1900. Then there's the GI generation, greatest generation, and that's from 1901 to 1927. Notice how they went 26 years on that. Then there's the silent generation, and they go from 1928 to 1945. Baby boomers 46 to 64, Gen X 65 to 80. Where this is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the uh, but when you look at this chart here, Father Saunders, they're not going by the 15-year model. I see generations in my eyes as a 20-year model. Two
Mm.
decades making a generation. 2 decades is 20 years. Yes, you can first make babies at the age of 15, but I'm going with the 20-year model here. And this what you call it that I've explained here, this visual is way different than how I'm gonna go. Now, I'll start here with the baby boomers here. This is starting from 46 to 64. I go by 45 to 65. If you go to Gen X right here, I don't use the 15 model. I'll go from 65 to 85 when I go to Gen X. I use 85 to 2005 when I'm talking about the millennials. And then I go from 85 to no, it's '05 from 2025, and that would be Generation Z, right? And then 2025 on out, which is next year, would start Generation Alpha. But this is what goes on. This is what we're showing here. The visual is
Mm.
usually where someone like a Father Saunders, big up, would start from. This is where he would go with it. And he's not entirely wrong, but I do see, but I've seen latchkey kids as early as born in 1985, you know, as born in 1984, born in 1983. You're cutting out a whole 5 years, and this is why they made up something called zennials. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
one, precarious period from 81 to 85. You know, that's usually precarious because a lot of them I include in there too. Because some of y'all that were born in 81, a lot of y'all, well, a good handful of you I graduated with back in 98. And keep in mind, y'all graduate in 2000, the year 2000. And I make you the end of Gen X and I make you the beginning of the millennials because you graduated from high school in 2000, you know, yet you were born in 81, you know, something like that. But we'll go with this. We'll go with this. This is not that bad, but you've excluded a great handful, like my man Outlaw here. Outlaw, what year were you born in?
88.
Okay, well, by any model, that would make you a millennial. Any model, whether
Oh,
I go
yeah.
through or this visual.
Oh my god.
But I see, you relate more to the generation before you. You're in what is called an old soul. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not you're not with a lot of the millennial shit. But if you really look at it, even according to this visual, the trophy the participation trophy generation started with boomer bitches. They were usually coming from boomer bitch mamas that didn't like the fact that their child was weak. They don't want to be held accountable for the choices they made when they were teenagers and in their early 20s, getting with a simp ass daddy, a weaker daddy, when in actuality it was her feminist choices that wanted a air quote sensitive man, not really explaining what a sensitive man would be. And then come to find out, we figured out that what they really meant was someone that was responsive to every need they had, whether it was superficial, whether it was a want. They wanted you not just, responsive to their needs, but also responsive to their wants as well. More of their wants than their needs anyway. You figured it out. You've already took the pill of truth, so you know what they're really saying, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. You know, so, when I go on, and it's not just when I go to Father Saunders' panel, he's here. It happens when I go to Angry Man's panel, not Angry MGTOW, not to be confused with that guy, but he's a black fella that, had went over 1 million subs, no, 500,000 subs not that long ago. Big up to him and what is called the Beano Nation, where he represents, which are black in name only. Whereas my man's outlaw here, he's Mino, millennial in name only. You know, he's not. He's a
Yeah.
Mino man. You know what I'm saying? He's not. You know, he's not a millennial nor a Zoomer, but he carries himself as an older soul, the way that they're supposed to be. Now, that a lot of general, not in general, a lot of those these values that we tend to fantasize about, or tend to emote about, or tend to ruminate about, like we're doing now, are usually coming from the GI generation. You know, and let me see what Father Saunders saying. He says another issue is not the so-called generation gap. We can all talk as a generation gap about the generation gap at the same table and not flip it. Makes sense. Okay. But yeah, the generation gap, they didn't start talking about that until the late to mid 60s. And you know where we're at with that. You know what I'm saying? You know where
Yep.
we are with that. We're either talking about this generation, the baby boomers, or that generation. Oh, no, no, no. We're talking about these two generations. These were the ones in which, in the Time magazine article, started first pointing at the generation gap. You know, when these cats, the greatest and the silent generation, got back from war,
Hmm.
when they got back from war, they had a lot of babies and they were the baby boomers. And when the baby boomers came out, this is when a lot of the civil rights and all of those movements came out in 64 at the end of this chart. And this was when they wanted to be different from their parents and grandparents over here.
Yep.
And yeah, if you're saying that the trophy generation came from the baby boomers, you may be right. You may be right. And in a vast majority of cases, you may be right. And I do agree with it. A lot of it did come from there. But on the real, we can sit up and scapegoat generations all day. What's going on right here and now over here? You know, Generation Alpha. Some may even call this Generation Zero, or go into the numbers and call it Generation Uno. It depends, man. I mean, this is when we start to getting into ruminations and conversations like this, where we talk about the generations and how one is weaker than the other. Now, it's not good to get into that, but damn, when you take a look around online, or if you want to step out there into the real world, you hear people talk a lot about this, and how you know we've came a long way from that internet thing. Internet was already invented, it already happened. In
Yep.
fact, the internet we now know was invented around here.
Hmm. Well, if you look at
Boom.
each generation rebelled against the previous generation.
In some form or another, yeah, yeah.
Your baby boomers will start. That's where I'll start. That was your peace, love, hippie generation. They were protesting more, right?
Hmm.
But think about this: each generation, even from Gen X down, millennials included, we've all been indoctrinated. Each
Hmm.
generation has still been indoctrinated by the government, a
Oh yeah.
psyop. You know, these generations right here that you've got highlighted, their indoctrination came in the form of television and radio.
Oh,
The
from
government, the
here on
government,
down.
yes,
Oh
that
no,
was
no, really from Gen X on over to the silence. Cause right here, uh, television was invented in '52.
yeah,
I would like to say in the early '50s, and yeah, where you're
yeah,
pointing to makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so each generation rebelled in their own different way. The boomers, they rebelled with drugs, peace, no war.
Hmm.
Your generation rebelled with music, heavy metal, rock,
Punk, hip hop,
hip hop.
and
My
punk.
generation rebelled with grunge and let's see, what was it? Our generation rebelled with grunge music. Um,
According to
you
this
know,
chart, I'll think about what had happened in the year around the year 1996. Um, Grunge was a big thing, yes. The
emo,
so-called East Coast, West Coast thing happened
emo.
around. Emo
Yeah,
started around then. They were like buzz clips in music television. What used to be that was the that was the MTV that actually had music on it, music
yeah.
videos,
But
right?
your generation rebelled with rock music, metal, old school hip hop. Uh,
What
then
happened around 1980 and 81? Yeah.
then ours rebelled with that. The Zoomers started rebelling with the new age shit like pop music and uh, what I guess you'd call what rap music now.
What happened in 2012? Let me see. Something that that I would call that was happening in the black culture called strip hop and trap and drill. A lot of that started
Yeah,
in 2012.
yeah.
You know, and
And
then
now,
yeah,
these two previous generations are rebelling in new ways, such as trans, LGBT. The feminists have always rebelled since at least the silent generation.
or dare I say the so-called greatest generation, because
Yep.
suffrage happened around 20. Yeah,
So
1920, 1919.
so your
Prohibition.
feminism your feminism started in that era. That was a rebellion. Uh,
Hmm.
you
Carrie
know,
Nation, Elizabeth Stanton, and all that. Yeah.
yeah. And so then the baby boomers, of course, the drugs and all that, and then the culture, the ethnical war between blacks and whites, that was a rebellion.
Around
In
here.
my opinion, in a roundabout way.
Oh,
Uh,
definitely here. Because,
yeah,
yeah. But it was called the lost generation, much like today in many ways. Those that are coming of age around now,
yeah,
yeah, they're experiencing pretty much the same thing as the lost generation did. Like
yeah.
that there's some similarities because according to this chart anyway, there's an ending of one century going into another. You know.
Somewhere around Generation X and millennials, we started rebelling with music. Well, the
Oh
baby
yeah.
boomers did too, but around that time, we started rebelling with our own different forms of music. And
Yep.
then, the culture war, emos, goths, which kind of always been around in a sense, nerds, jocks, preps. So everybody was trying to find themselves, have their own identity. And then you get around the Zoomers, which is sometime around when the internet was created. Suddenly, everybody started having a voice. Suddenly, their rebellion went from feminism and all that good stuff to LGBT, and now these newer generations are rebelling with this trans identity and this LGBT and all this nonsense. So it's gotten fucked up the more that we've been around. But again, each generation has its own indoctrination.
Yeah, uh, in many forms. I mean,
Yeah,
rebellion and rebellion against whatever indoctrination there is that's prevailing at the time. Same deal around here, and in this
yeah.
case, that is quite interesting what you brought up there, Shinobi. And he goes to say, if this is back to Generation Alpha, then I would hate to be born in Generation Beta. You would get a lot of grief. And I could see
Some
that all now. Yeah.
somewhere around our two generations, the atheist rebellion started, anti-religion, and then you started seeing a lot of Christian people going and complaining about video games. That was another rebellion, was religious rebellion.
That I was starting to see a lot in the millennial generation, to be exact. In
Yeah,
that era, I'm starting to think. I mean, what was happening in '81 and '96? The Tipper Gore incident, where she motivated hubby and all of them back in Capitol Hill, because at the time Al Gore was a senator of Tennessee,
yeah,
and there came the labels on Two Live Crew and
hmm,
um, um, Twisted Sister albums and shit like
yeah.
that. Because I remember Zappa, um, Zappa for one, D. Snyder, Luke Campbell, and they all, and even fucking Howard Stern were all
Yeah,
agreeing on that one thing. They were at the time free speech absolutists.
yeah,
Uh, I could rewind this back to the baby boomers, into that dreaded university, University of California at Berkeley, when they created what was called the free speech movement.
yeah.
Wow. And now they, those that headed that movement, Mario Savo and all of them, later became an anti-speech, movement. Let me bring that up.
So you
Yeah.
had a lot of people that were trying to separate themselves from the previous generations, and they were trying to do it in a new way. And a lot of people, like I keep saying, did it with music. Some people did it with, fighting on college campuses. Some people did it with the internet. The newest generations are now fighting and trying to rebel against the previous generations with the internet, and that's where you see a lot of this canceling and doxing and all this comes from because they're being propagandized by the machine. So
Whatever that
in
may
my humble
be.
opinion, you could see a lot of this rebellion as kind of guided propaganda in a way. Because if you go back and study where a lot of this music came from, like I remember seeing the other day where Ice Cube outed the hip hop industry,
Mm,
said that the government basically allowed it to help destroy the black youth in America, put them
right.
in prisons because a lot of the prisons are privately owned, right? It was
Yeah,
to help fill up the
I'm
private
gonna
prisons
uh,
for money by allowing them to sing all about all that negativity and gang culture and all that, right? Your heavy metal, no different, right? Teaching you how to take drugs in a lot of them heavy metal songs, your country music, shit like that. So the music was a lot of the rebellion.
feast your eyes, gentlemen. Those that we are on podcast mode can't see it, but we're showing a visual of the very person that is responsible for every parental advisory explicit lyrics label you've ever seen on an album, starting with the year 1990.
Mm,
There's Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, I believe. It may be his ex, but let me see here. That's
Tipper
Tipper
Gore.
Gore, Elizabeth Gore. All right. Born 48. She is still, according to this, yeah, they separated 14 years ago. I wonder why. In
Mhm.
2010 of all times, right? And here it go. Here they go. You know who the fuck is on the right, but who is on the left?
But when you look at the rebellions, no matter what generation you go back to,
Yeah.
what is the deeper meaning? Why did they rebel? They were trying to
Against.
separate people based off differences, right? Trying to
Hmm.
divide people. It was a divide and conquer strategy. That's what this music was, right? The music was divisive, and you still see it today. Oh, you can't listen to hip hop. That's not your culture. You can't listen to country. That's not your culture.
Cultural appropriation.
You can't listen to heavy metal. That's not your culture.
Yeah.
You can't be LGBT. You can't be a feminist. You can't be this or that, right? So this rebellion against the generations is a lot of it is propaganda, psyops. Very
A
simple to
way to
do.
divide and conquer. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
A way to
teens
divide and conquer.
always trying to rebel against their parents in the next generation. That's what it boiled down to.
Now, I'm looking at a quote by a Char here and in the chat. Again, some of y'all over there in podcast land can't see it, but here it is. Every generation ever has been indoctrinated.
Yes.
And I can also go on to say and piggyback off what Outlaw was trying to explain is that every generation ever has also rebelled against that said indoctrination.
Mhm.
You know,
It's
and
just
yeah,
it's just now, Psyche, we're seeing the indoctrination so clear because social media in these previous 2 generations have made it so abundantly clear by putting their entire lives on display for everybody to see in real time that these people are lost, they're misguided, and you're starting to see how previous generations were lost and misguided by all the propaganda to
right.
a degree.
Guess who's in the motherfucking house and in the
What's up,
Hey
building?
guys,
brother?
how you doing? You guys doing good?
All
He
right.
said grunge is fucking Gen X. How dare you?
No, I just want to come on here, man, because there's a lot of things you guys are resonating with, and there's a lot of things that I agree with. Here's the problem. Here's what
Yeah.
really sucks about this. Psychosoap, what you're doing, Outlaw, what you're doing. I agree with a lot of things you guys are talking about, and I can understand that, reflect, come back, and be like, yeah, that makes sense. Problem is that I think your generation and my generation, the last generation, is going to do that without fucking making everybody pay for it. So, like you guys and me, what we're talking about right now, whether it's Gen X, Gen Y, Xennial, whatever it is you guys want to talk about, we can have disagreements and still come to the same table. The problem is that after you guys, and I'm your guys' senior, what do we have coming going forward? Because every generation's been indoctrinated in some way, in some fucking way. There's no denying it. There's fucking no way. So every generation has some type of recompense, some type of thing that maybe their generation was guilty of in full coerce. When you go back and look at it, here's the thing: can you go back and look at it? Can we learn about it to further our country, whatever it is, our kids, whatever it is? Can we look at that and learn from it, or can we look at it and just sit there and blame each other? This is what really fucking sucks. And I haven't invested personal fucking interest in this too because I'm a fucking combat vet. So I want to get down to the bottom of a lot of shit just like you guys do. But we cannot just point the blame at any one generation because every generation
Right.
is guilty of a lot of shit. We're all
Right.
guilty of a lot of shit, dude. Does that make
And that's
sense?
the Yeah, and that's the point. That's what I'm saying. You can't isolate every bit of this to one generation.
Well, no.
Every generation has had its indoctrination.
The 15-year shit is absolutely viable. The 20-year shit that Psychosoap is talking about, absolutely viable because it's called post grad in fucking college. Of course, it's fucking viable. How many people have you seen come back from going to college and the indoctrination shit that we have now that has not been completely changed? So Psychosoap's not wrong. I'm not wrong. So can we come to a fucking agreement here without flipping the fucking table and being like pigeons and shitting all over the fucking shit like a board of chess and be like, I'm right, you're wrong, la 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 la. Plug our ears and all that stupid
Yeah.
shit.
Yes,
problem
we
is,
may. Yes,
Yes.
we may,
we
but
can.
one way,
can.
one way only.
So you and I can, Outlaw, you and I can. What about the other generations? Can they? That's the problem. We can
Well,
still do it and give each other shit and still be constructive. Can that happen after us? That's what's concerning to me.
it can be, but with the same tool it took with the indoctrination. And you know what Churchill said back then around the time of the greatest generation and the lost generation, right? And the silent generation. He said it like this, you know, the truth, no, the lie gets around the world faster than the truth has a chance to get the pants on, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's and this is what we're doing, being the truth and trying to get our pants on and make sense of a lot of this and reverse the indoctrination that's been foisted upon us. But we have no choice but to rebel, because others,
like
not
I said,
others did before us, but it's a
like
reflex to us now.
I'm sorry,
Like
I'm
I
sorry,
said-
guys. I was completely wrong on that. I'm so sorry. My father was not lost generation. My father was silent generation. My bad.
like I said, look at each generation's look at each generation's propaganda tools. The baby boomers had the television. The silent generation
At the
and
radio.
beyond, radio. Your generation, Gen X, had television and music.
Latchkey
Internet
kids.
to an extent
Latchkey
too.
kids. Let's go, latchkey kids.
My generation had television, radio, music, and
Internet, social media.
internet. Yes, internet,
Well,
social
you guys,
media.
a lot of you guys are seeing the fallout right now. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I really am. But you know me, if I don't get it out there, I'll fucking forget. I'm sorry. It's not
Or computers. I'll say computers.
computers. When you're getting out there, it's like, well, everybody's got these degrees now. Everybody told us, get your degree, go to college, get your degree. We get our degree, go to college, and there's no job for us. And we're like, what the fuck? You guys told us do this shit. You guys were part of that. If you're my age or close to my age, you guys know this. You guys know that. The future of what your generation was, you better graduate fucking high school. You better fucking go to college. You better do all that. If you guys were born in the fucking 70s, 80s, maybe even early 90s, you guys know this. That was very heavily fucking put into your programming every day.
And obviously, the Zoomers and the Generation Alpha had all of ours at their disposal, plus cell phones. The next generation will most likely have everything we had minus TV and radio, because all that's now on the same device. And it keeps progressing further and further. It's the tools that, in a sense, brought us together more closer as a planet, but still separated us leagues apart through indoctrination and propaganda.
I'm sorry, I'm not even part of the chat yet. I forgot all about that. God dang it, I'm fucking sorry, guys. No, I saw that you were on, and I'm not subscribed. How many of you guys have been subscribed to channels that you've gotten auto unsubscribed for?
Yeah, I just found out I was unsubscribed to
I've
Angler.
seen it a fucking dozen times now, at least. So for any of you guys that are out there, I'm telling you guys right now, your subscribers will get automatically unsubscribed from you because I've experienced it. It's fucking stupid. I don't know what causes it, but it does happen. Just so you guys know. So if you see, well, I thought he was sub for me from fucking whatever. Yeah, he probably was. But they're unsubscribed from you. How dare you fucking follow a narrative that is not what the fucking mainstream is? Fuck you. Fuck you. I don't know what the fuck happens with that, but yeah, there you go.
We have common denominators each generation. We were all lied to. Now you have to convince the next generation and the generation before you that they were lied to. How were you lied to? It was the tools used during your generation's technological advances that helped propagate it.
Well, what about people who, at one time, myself included, if you had a place to rent, rent was at one time like half of what the average mortgage is now. That's why rent was viable, because you rented before you bought. That was like the thing you did. I couldn't afford to buy, so I'm going to rent because it's like 50% less of what the fuck rent mortgage was. Now that shit's, if not the same, rent's even more. What the fuck is the viability of renting now?
Yeah.
I see that shit. I know what the gas is. I know what the cost of meat is. I know what the cost of utilities is, and internet and fucking gas and your car payment, whatever it is. I understand that. I pay attention to it because I got kids in this shit. I know that it's not fucking cool. It's not okay. It's not fucking, oh, well, you just need to fucking button up your bootstraps like, all the other generations, mine included, will probably say and be like, work fucking hard, work 60, work 70, work 80 hours a week. Who the fuck wants to work 60, 70 hours a week just so you can stay afloat? It's not just to fucking, get ahead. It's to stay afloat. There's a big difference there. There's nothing wrong with working hard. But if you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week just so you can get by, there's a fucking problem there, guys. There's a fucking problem. Just to live? Oh, well, get 3 roommates, get 4 roommates. How many of you guys can still have 3 or 4 roommates right now if you're anywhere near my age? Can you still live with 4 or 5 roommates? I've had 11 different roommates in my life, and 2 of the 11, 2 were fucking people I could get along with every day. We never had no issue with. 2 out of 11 is not a good fucking percentage, guys. If you guys still want to do that, you want to live with someone the rest of your life that you might not or not get along with, just so you can afford to live, to survive, and you're still working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. There's nothing wrong inherently with that, but you got to look at the overall picture of all this stuff. You shouldn't be working 50, 60, 70 hours a week just to live. If you want to do that to get ahead, that's fine. To live, that's not okay. No generation should think that's okay. With what you guys do today, with grocery shopping, with maybe you're going through a fucking divorce, with car payments, with probation, maybe because you went through that fucking divorce. Maybe you fucked up once. Shit, I fucked up. I got to go through this fucking court thing, whatever the fuck it is. Oh shit. Shit, I had to afford to live 1 month because inflation's so bad that I had to fucking back pay on some shit or whatever the fuck it is. It's not because you guys are living outside of your means, but should you guys have to work 50, 60, 70, 8 hours of work just to fucking stay above float? That is not okay. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm a Generation X who understands where that fucking generation's coming from, because no, you should not have to fucking do that. That's bullshit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'm thinking that way too, though. Yet it was not only a problem that our generation X went through. This was something that was done all throughout the generations, because if you remember correctly, and if you remember the news stories that were blaring for the most part back in 2021, 2022, and even now at the time of this record in 2024, a lot of them keep comparing the inflation that had happened back in the 80s, when we in late 70s, when we were born, which was after the energy crisis, and when we started going head to head with countries like Iraq and Iran and shit like that, over what, oil. And it was over that, I could say, um here around the no, hold on, it was going like here around the time of the baby boomers and the time of Gen X, when we were being born, when the and millennials, especially when millennials were being born, because around that time when they were being born and near the end of Gen X was when we had an inflation quite like this. A lot of news reports compare that time to now, because the percentage in all of it matches that time back in the late 70s, when gas started hiking up, same as now. But here's a crazy glaring difference. A lot of people that see the gas prices that got hiked up a couple years ago or a year ago are quick to forget the last time that this hiked up, back in the time of the global war on terror starting. When we were going out there and being deployed, the gas prices started going up from 250 all the way to 450. this is not the first time we see this. A lot of folks tend to make it convenient to forget that
This
we
ain't
went
the first
through
time,
this
guys. This
war
ain't the
started.
first time. No, this ain't the first time.
Not the first time at all that the gas prices were at $3 a gallon plus. You know, it's been around, bruh. It's been around for a good minute, and a lot of them tend to forget. Now, again, the distrust among the generations, it comes about as a side effect from that indoctrination that we see. I'm starting to make sense of this now from the beginning of this very stream
Yeah.
all the way up until now within the stream, and it is like, it's flashing in my head, and I'm like, oh shit, you know now, mind you, when I look at the generations across these times, this ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. But what we got is a chance different from the generations before us, like Saunders has pointed out already, guys, and like Outlaw has pointed out, guys, we are on the very means to stop it by using this means, and speaking with fellow brothers that are going through it and can't afford the cost of living or the transportation to get to your jobs and to your ways to make a living today. Well, it's harder to do that now than it ever was. However, a lot of people tend to point out the end of Generation X, when gas prices were starting to hike because of the energy crisis. From the time Nixon left office and Ford came in,
Yeah.
it rose another time when Bush was already in and we were deploying soldiers. And now when Poopy Pants is in office and we're not overtly being shown in Ukraine or Gaza or Yemen or anything like that, but if you really look at it, the special forces are in all of these locations right now. It's just that it ain't being talked about a lot, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to let you go ahead and outlaw. I have something to say about that, but outlaw, you've been wanting to talk. Go ahead, brother.
Well, no, I was just going to say, you're seeing it come full circle now,
Oh yeah.
thanks to social media. Social media has uh, it's exposed every bit of this in real time because people aren't some people aren't lazy. They actually do the research. What you're seeing is
Yeah.
is an attack. It's the destruction of the middle class. It's class warfare. This has been class warfare. If you go back through all these generations and look at what the rebellions were, it was class warfare at the root cause of it. A lot of it, right? It was the
Okay.
destruction
Uh-huh.
of what brought people together. It's
Oh
destroying
yeah.
unity,
Well,
modern
okay.
nuclear family, right? Communities. Because as you pay attention to these generations, what starts happening? You know, as each generation passes, technology in those respective generations starts bringing people close together as far as technology is concerned. But
Uh-huh.
that technology is used, ironically, in reverse to separate people more and more. If you follow what I'm trying to say, the further back you go in history, the more together in unity people actually were as a community without all this technology. The further you go ahead in time and you see all the technological advances, in a way, it brought people closer together with technology, but ironically, it was used to divide us. So you start seeing a massive split with each generation that passes. And it's
So
becoming very clear because social media has so much of this exposed that people can see it in real time if they're not lazy.
what he
Social
is what he is saying is absolutely correct. There's faults that we can look at on any generation that we go back and you want to research how far enough or however fucking you want to invest in your enough. What has any generation done to better it other than blame the other generation? I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah,
I know you
me
guys are.
too.
I'm guilty of it.
Me too.
How many generations are guilty of it? I'm telling you guys right now, I'm guilty of it. What have we done to try to better it? Now, I could say, I joined the military. You could say I was a supervisor. You could say I went for fucking mayor. All these things we've tried to do. We've tried to do this shit, and shit has not changed. So it's going to keep conglomerating and getting worse and worse and worse. I don't know how to make that better, but can those same generations come to the same table, recognize that every generation's fucked up in some way without flipping that fucking table that I talked about? Because that's the only way to go forward. That's the only way to go forward is if we're not going there and saying, la, 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 your generation's this, your generation's that. And then it comes into the end. I want to punch you. I want to kill you. I want to fucking cancel you. Fuck you.
Right.
That's not good for anybody. Right. So we all understand that every generation's fucked up in some way. We all have this.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You have empirical fucking data as to why every generation has fucked up in some degree, whatever degree that is. We can still conversate about that. The problem is, though, Outlaw and Psychesoap, what I've talked to you guys is that we could probably still do that. Can generations after us still do that, still come to the same table, not flip it over and want you fucking dead because you fucking think differently than me?
If you can convince them that they've been indoctrinated and that they've had a massive psyop conducted on them, which I don't know how you do that now, but if you can get people to look up from the slop that they're eating and see
I don't know if conversation was the word, but can we still have a conversation about that shit? How about that? So I can
converse was the word you're looking for. But yeah, man, you're right. Shit.
Yeah, if you can get people to see the fact that they've been indoctrinated, and look, I've tried my best with baby boomers and a lot of you Gen Xers. A lot of you people just don't want to see it.
I mean, I'm your guys' last fucking med, dude, as far as a Gen Xer goes. I'm one of your guys. I'm a young Gen Xer, but I'm one of the last fucking beds. And I can talk to you guys. Outlaw, we've talked how many times? Psychosoap, we've talked how many times? But after me, I don't know what the fuck's going to be there. What about after you guys? If you guys are the last bastion, what about after you?
By that time, to correct you, that time is now.
Well,
it's already after me because I'm in the same generation as you are.
Well, here's the thing, Saunders.
What we're talking about, though, guys, is forward thinking. That's what we was talking about in this sphere, right? What happens 5 months down the road, 5 years down the road? We're big advocates of that. Very big.
That's more important. Yes.
Here's the thing, guys. The people after us in Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they are seeing through the bullshit. The problem is, because of social media and the way that propaganda works, it's all being filtered out. There was an article that I did a video on.
Yeah.
There's an article I did a video on that I'm going to release on the channel probably tomorrow or sometime. Gen Z, the Zillennials or Zoomers, whatever you want to call them, are seeing through the bullshit in England. They're seeing that feminism is toxic. Now, the problem, again, because social media is a two-edged sword and it can also be used to propagandate people or propagandize people. Should have said that. They're being led astray. See, now they're trying to say that people like Andrew Tate is having influence over them, and they're saying, well, this is bad because if they take the red pill, that's why they're trying to label us a terrorist organization already. They're trying to get it embedded in people's minds that are seeing through it, because there are people of the newer generations that are seeing it. But the fact is, they're trying to steer that herd away from the truth and go back to the plantation, so to speak. They are trying to say that the red pill, the people who are seeing, like Andrew Tate, God forbid, but people seeing that, they're trying to dissuade them from taking the red pill, and they're not reporting on it. Kind of like in COVID-19 when all those doctors were suddenly buried under the table and weren't being allowed to speak. Remember that?
Shoved in the memory hole. The
same thing with the Zoomers and the Zillennials. They're seeing through it, or a portion of them are seeing through it, but you're not hearing about it, and they're being steered back into the wrong direction.
Well, thank you for the shout out. Go ahead, Outlaw.
No, go ahead. Yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
No, no, no,
There's
no.
some,
I appreciate that.
I'll take it. I'll
Outlaw,
take it. Fuck it.
go ahead.
That was good that you had brought up that that deal with Andrew Tate and all of this mess because I could show y'all a little something from Psychesoap that spoke on that on one of the buckets back in the summertime here. And I will find that shit here
And there's
soon.
then there's another fucking shit show. You got to go down the avenue of someone made some fucking good points, but at the same time, you got to look at the fucking context behind it. And it's like, do you want to support this or not? Yeah, they made this good point, but is this for the long term? No. Then you have another fucking subsector of what we're talking about, and it becomes so fucking convoluted. How the fuck do you keep up with it as a young kid?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense, guys? I'm
Because
trying to
you're
look at
not.
it. I'm trying to look at it from someone from experience, from a young kid's perspective, who's like, "What the fuck? There's so much shit here. I don't even know where to fucking start."
Mm-hmm.
That happens too, because we were all there, guys. At one point, we just didn't have a fucking platform to fucking portray it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now we have it, and even those points that we do express get shoved down some type of a memory hole or something. Forget he or she even talked about it, man. Forget that it even happened, right? And
Yeah.
right now, I'll play you a snippet of what I'm talking about when it comes to the Andrew Tate appeal.
Done to
This is short.
understand the dynamics. You know, I know what the dynamics. I know what the dynamics are behind his appeal. It's this space where I'm at, but somehow there's this wide fucking chasm between you and me, Nick, or between me and society to get them to understand it this way. See, I am that guy that can get you boys reading.
Hmm.
But the problem is that you'll go ahead and, this doesn't fit your interest. So you'll walk out the fucking room and ignore me. We agree that they deserve better role models, but little has been done to understand the dynamics behind his appeal. I know what the dynamics. I know what the dynamics are behind his appeal. It's this space where I'm at. But somehow there's this wide fucking chasm between you and me, Nick, or between me and society to get them to understand it this way. See, I am that guy that can get you boys reading. But the problem is that you'll go ahead and, this doesn't fit your interest. So you'll walk out the fucking room and ignore me.
And that's what happens with not just me, but it happens to you, you know. And that's what I was addressing in that short, you know. The dynamics behind Andrew Tate's appeal are clear. Though this fuck steals that shit we're saying, and this is why we're pissed about it. This is why we're pissed at them about saying that shit. Because he rips it off of us, gets a few million views off of this, and in those few million views, the kiddos they get it, they get this message, and they convolute it. It depends on where you're getting it from, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't have this complaint about just Andrew Tate having that appeal. I had this problem with a lot of hell, even MGTOWs in the space, MGTOW men in the space, and they're getting their talking points for you gotta excuse me, y'all. If you came into this game off Sandman, brother, you are missing a hell of a lot that you should have noticed and should have known when good greats that were also around, like earlier TFM shit or earlier you know Stardust stuff and Razorblade Candy and all them. We're trying to
Yeah.
tell you. but
Well,
a
and
lot of them got it from the
here's
McDonald's
another
version.
here's another problem with that though too. Not problem, but solution. Potential problem, maybe I guess if you could look at it that way. Eventually, those people that you guys that you're talking about right now, Psychosoap, are going to be those same guys looking at your same shit 5 years from now, 10 years from now, potentially
Mm-hmm.
outlaw shit 5 years from now, 10 years, potentially my shit if it's not taken down completely, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, we're going to be those guys. So I'm in my mid 40s. I talk to a lot of guys that are my age, older, or whatnot, because I want to know what their experiences are. Because eventually, I will be them. The only way to stop getting older, guys, is if we fucking die right now. Eventually, you're going to be me. Eventually, I'm going to be them. Can we fucking collaborate all this fucking shit that we're talking about and have it benefit somebody that might look at our shit in the future that we're not thinking about that we wish we had when we were their fucking age, when we were going through the shit that we were going through. That's why we keep
Bingo.
talking about the shit that we're going through. It's not because we want the views, the clicks, this, that, and the other. Some of them get that. That's okay. Okay, we can deal
Mm-hmm.
with that on another subject. The thing is that maybe eventually someday you guys are there. That's like, man, I don't want to be here no more. Fuck this life. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm spiritually exhausted. I'm financially exhausted. I'm physically exhausted. I'm going to look at some shit right here, and somebody fucking like Psychosoap comes up, or Hammerhand comes up, or Outlaw comes up, or I come up, or fucking Frost comes up, or anybody in this fucking sphere comes up is like, holy shit, you know what? I'm going to live another fucking day because this guy fucking understands where I'm coming from. That shit happens, guys. That's why some of us are here. That's why it's important to keep doing what you're doing. Does that make
I
sense?
call I call people like Andrew Tate the scapegoats of this community. And the reason I say that is because just like with the rap music we were talking about a while ago, like Ice Cube exposing the rap industry, saying that they were allowed to make those inflammatory lyrics and stuff, even though the government knew all about it and they were only allowed to talk about certain truths and not get so close. You know, they were the people who all of these eyeballs were intentionally funneled to look at the example of what we want you to know about. You know, Andrew Tate is one of these people that will only tell you so much of the truth. Look, they're not going to get into, exposing the money trails and exposing who's really behind all this, killing people and the human trafficking and the stem cells. They're not going to tell you what feminism is really all about. No, they're only going to tell you what they're allowed to tell you. They're scapegoats, and they're allowed these platforms by the same people that we're talking against for the reason of funneling people to their channels. And you notice he won't get into very detail. It's all about, look what I got. Don't you want it? Let me show you the methods of how I got it. It's nothing but a distraction, a path to lead to, a side trail that doesn't benefit anybody anything except more greed and more money. It's an empty lifestyle. You continuously paper chase when you follow people like Andrew Tate, and the man has no morals from what I've seen.
I've seen the intro, so I'm on to the first thing here, and that would be this Andrew Tate character. And I know, um, at first glance, at first blush, yeah, I've heard of him before this shit went down, before you know all of this stuff started happening to him, and I wasn't really much of a fan, because he's part PUA, part pimp when he comes at these topics, and he's a bit of a trad cuck in my, in my eyes too. He's taken on Islam, but is doing this shit on the side, which I don't know how he squares himself with it. I don't care though. You know what I'm saying? Live and let live. I mean, it's kind of fucked up that the powers that be do that to people and do that to these peas and shit, and they get them hemmed up for human trafficking charges and shit when these broads are grown and they've made adult decisions to get into this game. Now, excuse me. I don't know if that is legal in Romania or not, but I'm just going to go ahead and flat out assume that it is still criminalized to this day. I mean, pimping and hoeing, man, has been going on since the beginning of time. And you know what I'm saying? Speaking of which, brother, when you getting up into this game, baby,
But
you
you got
got
to have vision.
You see that shit? That motherfucker was pimp with it. Oh my god. Man, I gotta hit you one more time with that one more time. Willie, I respect your ambition, but you got
to have vision.
You see how he moved his hands? Oh, that's my shit. That is my favorite part in the movie Willie Dynamite is when, I forgot what his name was. Shit. But he does that shit and he has a little pimp meeting. You know what I'm saying? And just that right there. But back to this Andrew Tate thing, bro. Have whatever you think about the guy, it's cool. I mean, there are some P's out here that you might as well say the P stands for predator because, they take predatory means and predatory steps to fund their largely black market business. I mean, the best model I would say is that area outside of Vegas where at the bunny ranches, you know what I'm saying? Where it's a legal thing and in some places all over America anyway, where you got escorts. And I think they legalized it or fully decriminalized it. And there we go. This is how you get rid of all your guests. Wow. just play you a little bit of out in the bucket, and they're gone. I seen that MGTOW Outlaw had troubles with hearing, and then the audio, so I took it out real quick, and then I seen that you came in, Soft Sands, and I seen that also Father Saunders got out, and I seen that you couldn't hear it, but I'm sorry, fellas. I tried to turn this thing up as far as possible. Maybe get on in here and get into the audio mixer and start, turning up a lot of this audio. But I'm trying to turn it up, and I'm allowed to turn it up here. And then when I put on the file to share it, it also tells me to share the tab audio. So I'll also complain real quick over there to StreamYard as far as this goes. Yeah, man, I was sorry to interrupt what you were saying there, Outlaw, about this, but the biggest gist of and the topic of this entire rumination was about the situation where we have with the across the generations in Western civilization, all the generations that are involved. I mean, no matter what you are, if you're from the silent generation all the way up on into Generation Alpha. And there's a big distrust going amongst the two. And what I was able to gather from what we talked about, what I talked about, what I'm showing here, and some of these here are the freaking are the symptoms, and sometimes and a little bit of the causes. We also talked about the causes of this issue, in which there's a distrust among all of the generations as to why we can't, one, relate to each other, because there's yes, a propagandizing coming from the government. That's one, but then again, I would like to bring it a little further and say that it was the society that brought the government into this to indoctrinate you and divide and conquer you. So no matter what generation it was that came after the boomers, and a lot of you, most of you are ones that did come after the boomers. Most of you are, Gen X all the way on up to the Generation Z, as they've shown in our chart up there. And I'll just make that the thumbnail here later on. But what I'm trying to get at, and I was trying to also posit in the little example I was trying to explain, is that they've, in a way, are not relating to each other. One, because of the distrust that comes from said doctrination, that comes from said rebellion. And nowadays, the tool is social media. Whereas way back into the baby boomers, or way back into the silent generation, it was radio. When it evolved from radio, well, first newspaper, and this is the lost generation, everybody, way back on over there, guys. And I'll go on ahead and bring up the chart for those that are watching with me. This had started way back to the generations before the ones that are out here now that are doing it. And these are the Gen X all the way on up to Generation Alpha, according to this, that are born out here alive and kicking. Before then, we had the lost generation. And this is what I've been able to gather, fellas, and correct me if I'm wrong, either through chat or, we do have also the invitation to come on in here. I won't, I'll try my damnedest not to interrupt you, and I won't roast you, and I won't do any of that crap. But I'll bring you here the link to come on through. We're not going to roast. I simply just ruminate on this particular topic, and you can ruminate with me. There's no right or wrong way to see this. I mean, hell, even if you are from the opposition side of it, I would also like to hear your point of view if my video somehow ends up on your damn feed, which I doubt is going to be there, you know. And we could talk about this, and when we do walk away from this rumination, if you take nothing else from this, go out here. I got a little homework for you. Walk out here, IRL, offline, in real life and offline, and notice what generations are saying what. Guess what generation are they from? And if you do get a chance to speak with them, try to get their year of birth from there, and then think of this chart here. Or if you want to try to get it from here, you're more than welcome to copy and paste this from here, snip it using your snipping tool and put it here, or going simply over to where I got it from, which is Wikipedia. Now, they're not my primary source. Oh, hell no. I go after the source in which they got this shit from. But this came from, Wikimedia. So we're still in debate as to whether or not this is reliable. I just throw this up here for fun. But anyway, back to the homework. You go in real life and you speak with some of these folks. Now, yeah, it's okay to guess in your mind what generation they came from, but simply ask what their year of birth is. Plug it into this little chart and see why they think that way. All right. That's one way of doing it. Now, me, amongst the generations, yeah, I use this little chart here for fun as a go around. I go by 20 years. I think that 2 decades are a generation to me, whereas some say that 15, a decade and a half, is a generation to them. But I see it as a, 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 a decade's worth, a fortnight worth of decades, like 2 decades is a generation to me, whereas 15 years, like folks like Father Saunders, which was here earlier, will explain to you what it is. Yeah, and feel free also to get into the podcast of this or to replay this if you like, and share this video with those that do need a red pill out of this. Now, again, my apologies for throwing up the video, and if you couldn't hear it in live, or if you couldn't hear it in the chat, that's okay. I don't have volume knobs or levels, and the best that I can do is beg StreamYard to complain and say they're whack and try to throw it up right. And we ain't gone yet, but that's a little homework I would like to give to you. But I'm going to try as best as I can to tie this up in a little bow, taking the beginning, the middle, and where we at here in the end, to make sure that this works for every last one of us here. Now, the moral of the story, right, is to try your damnedest not to prejudge the generation. I think that's what our aim is here. And take that red pill in your mind, right? But take the basic tangibles, the basic tenets of, be it the MGTOW philosophy and or manifesto, if you like, or from your favorite content creator. And like I said earlier, in my opinion, I did not come into this game, I didn't come into content creation listening to Sandman videos and Howard Dare videos and think, that's it. I didn't come into this with Hammerhand videos and go, that's it. That's the red pill right there for me. No. I, listen to folks as varied as Razorblade Candy and Marcus, some of the intelligentsia, earlier TFM work before he went on his route, or, Stardust before he went on his route, and earlier videos of myself and early videos of some of the fellas. But I don't try to bring, as best as I try not to, because I came in here as, I took more red pills than one, as I said in another video. I took more red pills than one when it comes to the philosophy of going my own way. I took a political red pill and noticed that, because at first I was a normie leftist. I mean, some of these talking points and bullshit that the participation trophy commies, so to speak, have been, and I made that a part of my life. And then I realized, wait a minute, this ain't right. This ain't all. And so, I also looked at the spirituality that I was practicing at the time, which was Christianity. I was raised in the Baptist church, you know, and I took that red pill and realized that a lot of the stuff that came from the so-called good book and basic the instructions before leaving earth, I took the Bible as literal history when it really wasn't. They were basically allegorical stories and proverbs, if you will, and dare I say fables, if you will. And I took the lessons out of them and lived my life with it. even though I took the Most High out of the equation. Now I'm getting back into the spiritual side of things, but it's closest to the Eastern philosophy. It's closest to Zen, even though I don't. I'm not worshiping Siddhartha Gautama or Shakyamuni or how do you say this? I'm not taking the teachings of deities or figures like Muhammad or Jesus or Shakyamuni or Krishna, Lord Krishna, as they call them in over there in Hindi, because like in the Eastern religions are no dang gum different. Because if you take into account the early Vedic times, there were Buddhas before, and they even acknowledged there were Buddhas before Siddhartha Gautama. There were, in Zen, there were Buddhas way before Buddha Dharma when he made that trip to China and in Japan. You know, I don't subscribe fully to all of these messianic figures, but what I do try to do anyway is I do take those into account as as a roadmap, if you will, into living my life. And you don't have to do this. You could still practice your religion and still be true MGTOW with it. And speaking of true, guess who got brought into this motherfucker, y'all? And this man needs no introduction. And I do got you in here, and once you got them all ready and tacked on together, I'll have you here, and let me know when you're ready. I'll have my private comments ready for you, bro. Because I currently see you as just an avatar, but your mic doesn't look like it's working. But when it does get to
It's
working,
it's,
let
it's
me
just
know.
I'm struggling through things, obviously.
There you go. All right,
I
I
don't
hear
know if
you now.
it's echo or I don't know what's going on. It's been
Hold
such a
on,
while
brother.
since I've been on StreamYard.
I think okay, I got you now.
See if I can fix this.
I can hear you on my end. Chat, can you hear my guy True Sherm? And can you hear my guy Outlaw? Let me know if these guys can be heard.
Yep,
Let me
a
know
little
in the
better.
chat. Let me know in private for those that are guests.
Well, goddamn, did I get kicked off? For fuck's sakes.
You kind of did. It looked like
Yeah.
you kicked yourself off when I was playing the video, but apparently that wasn't you. You are here. You are here, and I am me, and we are he, and
Who
we
we
are
got? Is that
all
True Sherm?
together. Yes, sir. In the flesh.
Oh heck yeah, brother! I listen to your stuff all the time. I like
I have
I
to,
like
yeah,
you.
I have to replan a lot of stuff and go through a
According
lot.
to the brothers, the audio's good.
Yeah,
I
because
actually
YouTube's it's political season, man. It's wild. So I
It's
have to
just
kind
gotten
of
started.
yeah, I have to kind of re-strategize things a little bit. You know, just play the game to maintain, I guess, at this point. But I'm
And
glad you listened, and I'm gonna keep on making things for people to listen to.
hell yeah, man!
So
You made a song not
I'm
long ago that I downloaded.
mhm.
oh, I
What was,
appreciate
what was
that.
it? What
Appreciate
was
that.
that
I'm
called?
glad you enjoyed.
Yeah, hell yeah, man! Always glad to support another brother.
Yeah, I ain't looking for fame and fortune. Just if you at the party barbecuing, talking to maybe a chick or two. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
And saying you got your favorite bong and you're drinking your favorite beer and you think a true charm is like, oh shit, let's play this guy real quick. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm a very humble servant of Jesus, so I just did at this point does what he says and just not
and you apply the philosophy along with it, but you have had the discipline enough to take these wise sayings and wise quotes and turn them into reality. You were able to look at his life and base a lot of the great stuff that Jesus as himself is. Yeah, he's a messianic figure to a lot of people, the Messiah as he's called, but he's not the only one out there is what I'm trying to tell the chat. If you got, if you're Islamic and you got knowledge yourself and things like that, and you believe that Muhammad helps a little bit with your philosophy, if you want to chase that with your drink, then go ahead. Me, I decided to chase just the love of wisdom, philosophy with it. And this is through as many as possible. If you want to call it philosophical, a philosophical drink of suicide, you can call it that. But I'm not saying off
Yeah,
yourself. It's kind of
I
like
definitely,
where you go to the 7-Eleven and you mix all of the flavors in that one.
I
Suicide.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely
see,
don't mean to offend or anything. I just mean to enlighten, if anything. But
that's it.
for
Yeah.
for more of myself, more or less, because it is a journey that each man takes. If I could pay each man's bills, I would. But the unfortunate reality is that every person has to go through their own pain, has to go through their own reality, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna get off soon, because I'm going through some reality that's
Is
it's real
it?
tough. It's
Is it?
teaching me how to be a man right now. I'll tell you
I have
that.
a question. Is some of it related to the topic in a way? Are some of the older generations giving you crap? Is the current generation giving you crap, or what's happening? In terms of the generations, you know,
It's
Eh,
like
yeah,
Jujutsu Kitsen Shibuya incident type shit with me. It's like got a lot of people dying, and I don't know how to stop
yeah,
it. How to,
yeah. I mean,
it's just it is
yeah.
what
Go
it
ahead.
is, And I didn't mean to interrupt the show. It's just
Oh, no, you're keeping it going.
you know
Actually,
I'm watching my mom. We live in the same apartment building actually, and I'm watching her barely be able to climb up the stairs, and I've been having these seizures lately, and I feel ashamed because I don't feel like a man sometimes because it's now that much more harder to find. Like I have a job, but I don't. You know what I mean? And it should be me paying. I when I was a child, I wished for her to buy her a mansion, and maybe metaphorically she would say I did, but you know, w- there's some shit I didn't tell her, and it
Mhm.
was just when you learn more about this life, it becomes more like you have to toughen up real quick, like real fucking fast, bro. When you like, I had a cousin who's in the army who came by recently, and he was telling me some shit, and people he lost in front of him, and I had an argument recently before I deleted all my I'm gonna put some more content back on my main channel, so don't worry about that, guys. But I mentioned I lost a person when I was overseas. They don't count it as PTSD as much. Um, it's
Mhm.
almost like that
And
thing where
in
you,
the eyes of the VA and many
yeah,
others that agree with
yeah,
them, they're not catching on to that and not seeing that as PTSD yet. On the other side of things, when we come back to the states and offline and IRL, you're starting to see folks getting that same condition, that same
yeah.
type of shell shock
I was
over
right.
this.
Yeah,
I
videos
was
they
this
see
wrong.
here.
I'm not
this
afraid to admit that I was wrong.
All
That
right.
yeah. I
there are
mean,
some of the. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
brothers, this culture suffers from mental illness. There's a massive epidemic of mental illness going on in this country right now that we don't talk about. And a lot of it is from people who have come back from war. Is just fuck vets. You guys served our purpose. Get the fuck out of the way. That's how they treat people in this country. They hate us. They hate everybody here. They hate the whites. They hate the blacks. They hate the Mexicans, Asians, men,
Namely,
women,
men.
kids.
Yeah,
They hate every single soul that's on this soil right now,
that's
no
true.
matter, no matter what you are.
Yeah, that's for sure. To put it bluntly, I mean, they hate everybody equally, I guess. But
Sure.
I'm being a man going my own way and having taken the pill of truth. I'm seeing that I'm hyper focusing on the fact that they hate men like us, all of us, man.
Yeah.
Every last one of you that are listening to us here, and those that are out here and are aware of this type of wisdom and aware of this type of philosophy. But back to what you were describing here, that type of hate that they have for veterans, and that they had for veterans, and they will have for veterans going forward.
Yeah.
And according to this here chart, now I'm keeping with the topic, they've been hating them ever since they've gotten back from World War I, and this is according to the chart at the start of the Lost Generation and the GI Generation. They've begun hating them coming back in. But then again, dating all the way back to the Lost Generation, they were hating those guys that wised up and didn't want to join that world conflict. They didn't want to join World War II, and they didn't want to do all of that shit. And they were given white feathers to show them to show the world and everyone that they were cowards. Now it's flipped the other way around. Those that did volunteer, mind you, volunteer, not drafted, to make the ultimate sacrifice, being hated just for signing up.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say, yeah, that hate for veterans has been going on a long time. And what you're experiencing, true, ain't nothing new. But that's not to undermine what you went through. No matter what the hell you was
Mhm.
going through, and coming back here into the States and experiencing what you've experienced and have seen combat. I mean, this is for folks like yourself, Father Saunders, who was here earlier, and
Mhm.
Outlaw, you had seen some action too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I've got family that served, but I never
That's
served. So
another thing, though, too.
yeah,
But at least you ain't going all Hillary Clinton with it and saying that you're suffering the most, because
yeah,
for
yeah,
starters, you're not the one that's out there. you know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah.
go running every day. There's no way I could say, no matter how much pain I'm going through, there's no way I could say that it's only no way. That's why it's like
The comment.
it's a it's a fight, it's a battle for because there is the me concept of you have to worry about your health, your bills,
Mhm.
your this, your that, your but it's also the okay, if you got to get through the hardest shit that you've ever been through in your life, you got to think about that kid that has no arm down the street, or you have to think about the homeless guy that's sleeping that didn't have any food tonight, and you were able to afford the food, but they weren't. Are there are some homeless people that have more money than you, and you don't even know it. It
Mm,
could be the other way around, and no one even knows. Sometimes people think of the pedophile as the creepy dude in the corner with the mustache. Sometimes it's the hot chick preying on your 9-year-old son on Snapchat, and
Yeah,
and
no
they're
one talks about that.
teachers too.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. They lock your children in a cage with them for 8 hours every day, 5 days a week.
Hmm. And they don't need no bars. They don't need to import you from another country and take you from the southern border. Hell, they can take them right up out your household. And you yourself, as a parent, those listening and those, that are parents and have children that go to these schools are the ones that willfully bring those children to that hellhole that we all call
Yeah.
school, and they're subjected to like to an indoctrination like no other, because there's no, I mean, now it's being done online, and it's being, and now I didn't kick you out there, True. I did see that you had just left us, but you are, of course, more than welcome to come back. But yeah, I'll throw out the link one more again. But yeah, man, these same parents are bringing these out to the same teachers, to a creepy person that isn't the common picture of what you would think a creepy person looks like, you
Yeah.
know. And this is what creepy truly looks like, not the motherfucker that you think that looked ugly, that ogled you in the store the other day.
Mhm.
No, it's usually that fucking teacher that you think can do no wrong or do no harm.
Well,
And
think
not only that, they can bring you indoctrination straight out of the playbook of past generations.
Well, think about it, Saki. I mean, it's process of elimination. If they're refusing to hire, white men or men in general for being school teachers much anymore. And look, I don't know how many male teachers there are in the country. I'd imagine it's probably not a whole lot now with affirmative action. And as women teachers become more and more each and every year, and you're still seeing high school shootings. You're still seeing teachers uh, preying on these kids with indoctrination. You're still seeing pedophilia from these female. I mean, has people not put it together yet?
Mm,
It didn't go away with the male teachers leaving the classrooms.
still there. It
Still
didn't
there.
it didn't, end with you getting rid of the creepy preachers, in which the Me Too movement actually started on.
Yeah,
There were creepy bitches in church. There were
yeah,
there's creepy chicks in the synagogues. There's creepy chicks in the Catholic Church. There's creepy chicks in the Protestant Church. There's creepy chicks in Islam, believe it or not, as well
yeah,
as in Hinduism. And all Buddhism is Hinduism, like Alan Watts said. All Hinduism is Buddhism stripped for export. Excuse me, Hinduism is for and by the Indian, East Indian people of India. But when you strip it for export, it becomes Buddhism. So uh, Buddhism is basically Hinduism stripped for export. The Where I'm really trying to get at too is there's generations amongst even those factions of folks, one generation and older usually preying upon another, which is usually younger.
yeah,
And you see this too in, some of the most so what used to be the most praised and highly lauded institutions in the West, not just in America but everywhere in Europe as well.
hmm,
um, Japan as well too. There were cults that were based on Buddhist teachings and Zen teachings. I mean, I still remember the attacks, the sarin gas attacks of '95, when this Buddhist fella started creating a cult, you know,
hmm,
and these folks were indoctrinated. The key word: indoctrination. And what he did was implant all sorts of strange philosophies and horrible of horrible ways to look at all of these philosophies that are basically out here to teach you how to stake your own path, and turned it into something that uh, teaches you what to think and not how to
yeah,
think critically for yourselves.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what school has become. It has become an indoctrination center. They teach your
Yeah,
kids what to think all the time. They don't teach them how to think. They're not teaching them philosophy. They're not teaching them how to solve problems on their own with critical thinking skills, how to balance a checkbook, how to find a job, how to feed themselves. They're not teaching you how to do anything useful. It's
definitely
all
not.
about indoctrination.
You know, and in trying to program as many impressionable people into their unethical as well as evil ways of thinking, to get you to do some of the most shittiest things imaginable. I do see you here, Soft Sands. I ain't forgot about you. You here? I see that you in the chat, fam. I don't know who that red mind man is, but I'm pretty sure that if you are out here making MGTOW videos of any type, whether it be shorts, long form like this, or pre-recorded vids, more often than not, you probably got your fucking shit from Sandman. And not to diss on the guy, because he really does shine in live in person interviews, but when he's doing his pre-recorded videos, the robot voice didn't throw me for six. And like you described, Soft Sands, no, it was dry and never hit the nail on the head with me. I listened to a lot of the I listened to my peers, like for instance Outlaw and True and Saunders. I
Yeah.
listen to my peers a lot more too, and I gained some insight from what they're saying. Some of the classic videos that Shinobi was making.
Yeah.
you know
Mhm.
I see where you're coming from there, Oni. Oni, the main thing you can give your kids is to be present and to give you your time. And that one, I believe, was for True. And I see here that you came back to Christianity, and before you was into that, you were into Nordic teachings, old Norse shit,
Yeah.
like the Valhalla and Odin and all of those things coming from the Scandinavian countries. And I get that too. You can get some valuable teachings of how to wage war. Yeah. But, maybe somewhere in there are nuggets of joy and wisdom that you could also impart on the MGTOW philosophy, and also spin it is not a good word, but also to make sure that you have a solid foundation in which to take this philosophy to. Okay, and to move forward here, um even forward. Sorry if I forgot you. And I see why you would
Barb.
homeschool your kid, Oni. And I see Barbarossa was,
Yeah.
what really did it for you, and that's also what did it for me, especially his post feminism man video. That one, it did a lot more for it, and she really does not love you from TFM, and no pretenses, which is coming from Spetsnaz, if I'm not mistaken, either from Spetsnaz or Stardust. But those types of fellas is what I was rocking with before I got to making content myself, and reaching out to peers like you. And it was from Barbarossa in which I got the star-nosed mole analogy, where yeah, they're moles. Yeah, they're blind. What's happening there, new? Do do do. What's happening there, Riggs?
What's up,
Do do.
guys?
What's happening? You
Well,
know.
Soft Sands, I'll answer one of your questions. For a lot of people, these older guys, like you said, are kind of dry. I mean, it's all who you prefer, your preference.
Mhm,
One of the reasons, and this is just my personal opinion, is because a lot of these guys have not personally connected with the audience that listens to them. They're not building a personal relationship or a connection with the person behind the videos and the streams.
mhm,
You can listen to a guy talk about red pill and MGTOW all day long, and yeah, he'll tell you the truth, but if his delivery is dry, if he's just doing it out of duty or spite, you'll obviously pick up on that. But in my opinion, you've got to go beyond that. You've got to make a connection with people, You know, like I told the guys all the time on True Blood Stream, it's a connect. It's an investment. You're investing in people, you know, and you're hoping that they invest in you because that's what it is, in my opinion. Uh, you know, you want this relationship between viewer and speaker to go far beyond uh, just videos, just live streams. You know, build a connection with the person you're talking to, and that's what I'm afraid that a lot of these bigger YouTubers lose is they're not personally connected with their audience. You know, there's no way Sandman is interconnected with all of the hundreds of thousands of his subscribers. There's no way. There's no way. Now, maybe it'd be a very impressive feat for me to see, but I don't think he is. And that's why these smaller channels are so influential, is because they have an advantage. They're capable of connecting with people a lot closer because there's not that many people versus them. I hope that answered it, though. Sorry about that, Mr. Soap. Mr. Soap.
Forgive me, fellas. I was freshening up my drink. I'll try to get this on in here.
Yeah, you got to be relatable to the people that you're talking to, man. I mean, you got to be able to read people, right? You got to be able to understand them.
Yeah.
You've got to understand the audience you're preaching to or teaching to. You know, you're not just throwing the message out to people just randomly and willy nilly. You know, you got a lot of people that are broken here. People who, you know, they jive with certain things. They don't jive with certain. It's getting to know the people that back you and support you. If you're not willing to do that, then in my opinion, why are you here? I'm just saying.
From right there, you know. New, he what up, new do. All right.
No, you
Now,
don't have to.
yeah, no, you don't know. You
No,
don't
you
have
don't
to
have to. But in my
connect
opinion,
first.
it
Connect.
helps.
It works. Yeah, it helps and it comes through. Me, that's why I often tell folks, like, especially most of my minority and black listeners, so if you do, you know, happen upon my channel, that, hey man, there are no color lines in my manosphere. When it comes to manosphere, the manosphere for me is not just on YouTube or Reddit or Facebook or anything like that, or just with you guys here in StreamYard. It's mainly this, yes, but it's also when I put down this headset and when I turn off this studio and go and live my life. That's where the manosphere is for me, within my sphere, within that planet. A lot of you tend to talk about your solar system. Not a lot of you, but a lot of those that are out there, they tend to talk about what's in their solar system, but very few tend to venture outside of their own solar system, let alone their galaxy, to use the analogy of space. Very few tend to go outside of that solar system, much like Voyager, and get into that Hubble deep field, get into the galaxy event, or to, okay, we'll do it like that, get into the galaxy of Andromeda, and even outside of Andromeda, and try to get as much of the observable universe within my sphere as possible. Mine is, and some are just as limited as their planet, and stay there when it comes to their content creation. Though, and this is a problem I do tend to have to outlaw, and I'm
Yeah.
guilty of this as well, is that I'll, you know, and New pointed this out too. When I first started, I had the problem of living through that content creator, another content creator. And I think that, you know, going my own way does not mean going Hammerhand's way or going
Right.
Grinch's way or going Angry Man's way. No, it's about going my own way. Or
Right.
it wasn't here for me to go through or live my life the way TFM did, or living my life the way Outlaw or you do new live in your own sphere. And within my sphere, at least I try to do this, and that's to expand my awareness of manospheric topics and not try to get stuck in what black people are doing, or what white people are doing, or what right wingers are doing, or what left wingers are doing.
Yeah.
I try to expand that as far as possible. That's why when you do come to my channel, and look at that, look at that. It's the unity, not diversity, but the unity. I have people like New here, True here, Father Saunders here, Chaos for You here. Now, where in the fuck, or what channel are you going to go to and you see all of those people that I've mentioned in one space? Not very many, are you?
Yeah.
And that's proof positive that I try to make this content for every last one of y'all, but then I'm guilty of doing this too. And that's, if I try to be everything to everybody, I will be nothing to no one. So I gotta concentrate mostly on living Psychesoap's life, and being not just who Psychesoap is, but not just what my government name is, because then that gets me into Zen. Like, who is me really? You know? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm what's his name? So and so. That guy that's on my birth certificate. No, man. You're more than just that guy. You know, if once I drop that guy, that's a shedding of the ego. That's my ego being slayed like a dragon, and I'm still in that fight with that dragon. And that's to slay that dragon, kill my ego entirely, and do what Bruce Lee has often described, and that's being water, my friend. You know, as he had already described, and most of y'all know, and you're in the martial arts, I can tell. You pour water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You pour water on that fire, it becomes an extinguisher. Dare I expand this analogy? You pour water in an ice tray and you throw it in your freezer, it becomes what? A solid. You put it on in a tea kettle. Yeah, it's liquid at first, but as you turn up that fire, it becomes a gas and starts to whistle, and you take what's left of that hot liquid and you make it a medicine or whatever, or a great enjoyment for your day. But anyhow, I try to expand beyond the people not just myself, but and not just the people I know, but and not just the generations we see, even. If I'm to make the content, the audience that I would like to know are these, and none of y'all none of y'all that are listening to the podcast are seeing this, but I'm trying to relate to every last one of those people that you do see here in this chart. That's where I'm heading for, even though a lot of those in the middle relate to me more than anybody else outside of that. And I see what you're saying, soft sands. Excuse me, you're not softy soap. Softy soap's my brother. Soft sands. You may be a nigga down to the socks, brother, and I see where you're coming from with that. But I'm more than just a nigga. I'm never ignorant, getting goals accomplished as well. I'm a person, but I'm more than just the person. All right. I'm more than, yeah, I'm that consciousness, that spirit, as many of you call it, the spiritual folks call it. I am that, and then some. You are that, and then some. You're more than, say, like that demographic that likes to listen to hard rock and metal. You're more than that guy that listens to, let's just say, East Coast hip hop or West Coast hip hop, or we could take it through the generations. You could be those ones that listen to the trap and strip hop of today, more so than you do the gangster rap and of the past. Me, I'm more of that jazzy type fella. I go with that East Coast shit and of the old school and the undergrounders and backpackers of the 90s and 2000s. And I try to take that a little further to those that, it's more than just the conscious shit, because a lot of the conscious guys, rappers, and all of y'all know that are now turning into simps. You know what I'm saying? A
Yeah.
lot of them are trying to be everything to these people that we call woke and crap. Because if you really want to know, that expression came from that group, you know, but it's became, everything that the opposite sex wants you to be. And I get it. Yeah, Shaka Nu is saying the golden era is where it's at, and Q-Tip flipped. And speaking of which, happy Dilla Day, because today is his birthday. He would have been 50 years old, and I dedicate this episode to him. May he rest in peace. I also
Oh,
dedicate this episode to Toby Keith as
oh
well.
yeah.
That's passed away yesterday. And
Are
and
you
yeah,
are you talking about the one and only Jay Dilla?
Jay Dilla, his birthday is today, and he would have been 50 years old.
That man made some really good music. I've used him in some of my videos, I believe.
Q-Tip, that is who introduced us to him. Is who introduced him. Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest is who
Yeah.
introduced Jay Dilla to us. Today is
And
D-Day. Yep.
New Jobbies.
New Jobbies. He died and is also born in February. Like Jay Dilla is.
Yes, sir.
He died. He passed away a little after him. I'm thinking 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And he did the Samurai Champloo, if I've
Oh yeah.
pronounced
Oh
that
yeah.
correctly. He did the theme music to Battle Cry, the
Fan
Way of the Samurai.
fan fucking tastic soundtrack to that show.
Mm-hmm. Nuja
Oh
Bees is behind that. Nuja Bees is behind that soundtrack.
yeah,
But
I've heard him too.
whereas Dilla is behind some of the classics that came from Q-Tip and Busta Rhymes. Madlib is behind a lot of uh, Jay Dilla's later work before he
Mhm.
died, and Boondocks. If you
Boondock.
guys are familiar with MF Doom and all them,
Yeah.
Madlib produced a lot of that. And and nowadays he's doing work with Freddie Gibbs and shit like that. He might come back for some things. But
Okay.
anyway, what I was trying to say here is rest in peace, Jay Dilla. But back over here to the episode and the topic at hand. And you had described this earlier, Outlaw. We've do have all these generations that we show up here, but
Mhm.
they within those generations there was indoctrination to
Yeah.
divide and conquer us, and it's going to take a long time, and with that same method and means to bring them all back together through using the same method. It's going to take this very method, social media, and we're using one of those methods to, yes, bring what is the truth and try to make it the we work with the facts and live with the truth. Let's put it that way.
Mhm.
And that's all we're trying to do here. And that indeed I do appreciate. I don't have color lines in my manosphere personally. This is Psychesoap, the soap to cleanse your mind. I'm not trying to wipe your brain here like MK Ultra. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the older you get, and me too, Psyche. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a respecter of persons with the philosophy of the message. You got people in this community that's trying to claim that we're all a bunch of racist and hateful people and
And you're not.
supremacists. And yeah, I mean, get the fuck out of here, man. I can get along with anybody in this community as long as you're telling the truth. Your skin color it don't matter. It ain't got nothing to do with it.
Sure the hell don't.
It's your message. It's your character.
Absolutely. Your character, the content of your character
Yes, sir.
is what really matters. And you know who that came from? And they also trying to say that guy was not woke enough for today's generation, even though that same person is going to say he inspired this generation and that generation too. You
Yeah.
know, he came from the silent generation, but it took him to, inspire the baby boomers and generations all beyond to do what is necessary to utilize the truth that you've lived with and the facts that you've lived with, because we can't do it with just facts and logic all on its own. A lived experience helps sometimes, you know,
Mhm.
most times, really, because the lived experience is where you find pain. You're still
Yeah.
in your human body, you know, and pain is within that. And without rambling too far or too much,
Power on.
we're
Oh.
gonna turn that on
Power off.
and we're gonna turn that off. You know that, you know, we gotta turn off the indoctrination and turn on the truth. Turn
Yes,
on
sir.
the facts and logic. Do that, though. Don't get stuck with that. Come with a message that is relatable to everyone possible. In my case, I'm gonna start with the men because a man's experience is what I live every day. It's what you live every day, and it's what the fellas in the chats lived every day. And if
Yeah.
we don't get us right, how in the fuck do we expect to get other
Yeah.
genders correct?
Yeah. Look, every bit of this, even, and this is what I tell the men on my channel. Every bit of this, no matter where it is, no matter what you want out of life, it starts with number one. Starts with you. It
Absolutely.
don't matter what you want out of life. Don't matter if you want the Lambos, the women, the houses, the money. Don't matter if you want the simple life. You just want to live in a shack down in the wood. It starts with number one, making the changes for yourself in your life because you have to realize your value as a man in this country. Don't matter what people say about you. It's what you know
Mhm.
about yourself. You got to do some soul searching.
Mm.
Got to learn about yourself. And that's some information that the world ain't going to give you because the world don't give a damn about you. You got to find people that care about you. You got to surround yourself with the people that are positive, that are uplifting to help you and your goals.
Oh
You
yeah.
can't find that. You can't find that. And that's what this philosophy in this community is supposed to be about. Surrounding yourself with like-minded men that's going to help encourage you. You help encourage them, right? That's what community is. And you help each other reach your goals, but you do it going your own way. That's what it comes down to.
Starting within, man.
It starts
Yeah.
in the soul, starts in the heart, man. You got to get self right before anything else gets right.
And like I posited to the chat and got here in the stream, got a mirror?
Mm,
Because that's where you start, brothers. That's where you start. And hell, you don't need DMT, you don't need acid. Hell, in some cases, you don't even need weed. You don't need alcohol. Start with that mirror. That's you, baby. Now, that's your outer self. But then again, start thinking about the person that's in that. The
mm,
behind your eyes, man. Every last one of you behind your eyes, you know? And definitely see if, for lack of better terms of putting this, or think in this case about you, who you really are. I
mm.
mean, you are more than these clothes you wear. You're
Yes,
more
sir.
than even this body you're in, you
Mm,
know? Um, some say it's in the deeds you do. I believe that. I believe that.
yeah.
I see
Mm,
it in the things I do every day. You guys see it in the things you do every day. And what I'm telling you is no different than any other MGTOW content creator will tell you. What Outlaw's telling you, what True just got through telling you, what Father Saunders just got through telling you, and what all of you good brothers in the chat are telling us. It ain't nothing new. But I tell you one damn thing, the only damn thing that makes it newer is the way you apply it. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do when you step outside of this podcast or live stream? What are you gonna do to make you you? You know?
Mhm.
And Soft Sand goes on to say here, might sound weird. Pain is where I found the most pleasure, mainly to chastise myself for making stupid decisions.
Yeah.
That's one way of doing it. A religion is based its whole premise on that, but sometimes you don't even have to find it in pain. But you know what? I've often seen in my experience, and even in my own, excuse me, that pain is where I learned the most lessons. And even if it's all the way from the ouch, you touched the hot stove, all the way down to, man, I was really hurt by that decision I made in the past. There's a difference between the two, but there's one characteristic they share, and that's pain. So I see where you're coming from, Sans. See where you're coming from. And Shaka Nu says, mind right is first. ME,
Yeah. That's
mastering
true.
equality, mastering self at the mind and the heart. And this is how you do it, Nu. This is how you do it. But starting
True.
with the self is, I definitely agree with you on that. Starting
Yeah.
with oneself. It's no matter how you took that journey, you know. Some of you were taking a road with a bunch of curves and turns in that bitch. And some of you got a straight, narrow path. Where a lot of us
Yeah.
are trying to get it to. But I tell you one doggone thing. Um, all of us at near the end of that path, and once you get close to your destination, are gonna, share with us, share with me, and share with
Mhm.
your listeners and people, subscribers, whatnot, those experiences that you've went through. And this is what indeed keeps my channel and all of your channels alive. And
Yeah.
I and I'll be going to every last one of your channels too, and see if you're applying that knowledge yourself, no matter how that is described to you, whether you get it from the Most High Allah, whether you get it from Muhammad, whether you get it from Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, Dharma, Siddhartha, no matter where you're getting it from, make sure, and hell, even if you're getting it from you yourself, into your name here, so long as you have actualized yourself, because self-actualization, self-realization is the number one goal of MGTOW.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's right too. One of the biggest enemies you'll face in your lifetime is your mind.
It's kicking my
It,
ass sometimes. Yeah.
it's your mind. He's absolutely correct. Yeah, I mean, your mind will be your worst enemy at times. It is mine. You've got to be willing to be a good student. You can't just always think that you look. I don't approach this philosophy thinking I'm a master. I think of it as being a student, learning from other people. A good teacher is a good student. I live by that philosophy. I believe it works, and it does work. I approach things with an open mind, be willing to learn. You don't know it all. You are in a process of refinement. You will be learning things to the day you die. You will never know it all. I will never know it all. So you got to be humble. Like I was going to say a while ago, life is a balancing act. Knowing when to apply knowledge, knowing when not to, right? Knowing when to know things, when to apply it, whatever. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a balancing act.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you got to be humble, man. If you're going to reach people in this philosophy, you got to be humble. You got to show people that you're willing to learn and not just try to talk over them or try to pretend like you know everything. I don't know everything. I
That's
don't
sure
know
as fuck
everything.
don't.
I don't have all the answers to life.
This is why I enlist the help of every last one of you brothers from all points of the all points of everyone out here, like every last point that, yeah, every last one of you are saying, and making my points not just as diverse as possible, but uniting them into that one. Into that one, taking the all and going into the one, and taking my one and bringing it out to the all, you know.
Yes, sir.
And it, going with that back and forth every day, because you all are an expanding universe as well. This is what I, um, think it to mean in terms of living the philosophy. And I'm glad to have brothers like yourself on here, Outlaw, to help articulate that message, because some of y'all are not going to understand it from where soap is coming from. Some of y'all are going to understand where Outlaw's coming from. But with our powers combined, we come MGTOW, and all that good shit. But
Yeah.
when you get out of this, when you simply change up to another video, or when we both leave the studio here, and when me and Outlaw get on out of here, brothers, um, see definitely what all other generations are saying, and then look to your own and see what you're doing with it, and in doing as much as possible to not only dance to the beat of your own drum, but inspiring others to look deep within, no matter what spirituality you've chose. I mean, spirituality is a good way to find this, though. You don't have to go as far as your nearest mosque, church, synagogue, or hell, even broadcast like so. You can do that by turning this off, and simply living your own life, man. And I need to heed my own advice. I need to heed what brothers in this chat are saying. I need to heed what Outlaw's saying, because if I don't, and stay going my own way, I'm gonna have a big trouble. My straight and narrow path is gonna start to become curved as hell. I'm gonna have a
Yeah.
lot of forks in it. I mean, the one road that I seen was, do you want to go the path of the gynocracy, and go that way, go that route, or do you want to go to the path of extremism? And I don't want to go that route neither, because I do see within myself, and not through what the opposition is saying that we are, and that's racist and supremacist elements, or nationalist elements, trying to get you to be one with a race. No, man. No, man. Is to be one with one's own self, and to really dig into the core of who you really are. Because if you don't do this, you heading for a path that's a curvy one, got forks in it, and self-destruction at every turn. No matter where you go straight in that road. If that motherfucker got forks in it, hey, at least it's your own way,
Yeah.
and you'll get to where we're at. You'll get to where you want to be, not just where we're at, but where you want to be. And that's what really matters. Not where I want you to be, not where Outlaw wants you to be, but where you
Yeah.
want to be in your own path here. And these generations, they divided us and conquered us for the longest time, whether they be the youngest ones or the older ones. Hey, even in your very own generation, they try to corrupt you, and feed you
Yeah.
lots of propaganda and pseudo wisdom. Though, you know, keep on that path, and keep connecting with us out here, and
Yeah.
come on by the outlaw space. If you're getting tired of people putting color lines in your manosphere, come on over here. If you're getting tired of people putting generational lines in your manosphere, like I've showed you here, come on down over here. Come on
Yeah.
down over to outlaws. you know Come on down over to New, and see what he talking about. See what True talking about. See what Father Saunders talking about. And
Yeah.
even if we do got color and generational lines in it, you can at least take the nuggets of joy within those doggone paths, and use what is successful, and build your own strategy, to get you through this
Yeah.
life. Because I don't want you to come off of this video hating every woman you see. Now, this ain't no simping
Yeah.
statement, I don't want you to coming from out of here and saying Psychesoap told you hate women. You know, I mean, yeah, that's where a lot of our opposition is. Those that simp to them and be subservient to them, and those that start hating on fellas like us and other fellas going through hardships, because you listen to what that simp man is saying.
Yeah.
Um, or hell, listen to what we're saying, and we are even telling you the right thing to do. But at the end of the day, make sure that path is all you. I'm gonna let go of the weight. I spotted you
Yeah.
for a little while, but I'm gonna let go of the weight and watch you just lift it and bench press it your damn self. And I believe you'll get stronger that way. That's for sure.
You gotta let go of that rage. You gotta let go of that hatred.
Oh yeah, the
You
red pill
know,
rage is a motherfucker, man.
it's very easy to hate those who have wronged you, but you
Mm,
got to remember forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other individual, because if you carry that pain and that weight around in your life needlessly, and it's needless. Yeah, and I'm not telling you that what you've been through isn't important, or that it's not no less important. And I'm just saying, if you carry that pain around, if you carry that hatred for somebody and that bitterness around with you because of what somebody else did to you, it'll eat you alive. It'll eat your soul from within. You got to let it go, man. You got to make peace with it. One of the biggest red pills I'm learning even now
mm,
is now it's time to start moving past the bitterness, the red pill rage of what society lied to me about. You got to understand, brothers, every generation, every ethnicity, both genders, we've all been lied to, brother. We've all been lied to. Men and women have been lied to. Blacks have been lied to. Whites have been lied to. Everybody's been lied to by
mm,
this government. Yep.
mm,
Yep. Got to let it go, man. This is why we keep saying this isn't hatred for women. You don't hate women here.
mm,
You just simply understand that what they did was in ignorance, and that if you allow it to continue to eat at your soul, eat away at your mind, eat away at your heart, it'll consume you. It'll destroy you. You got to let it go. You got to make peace with it and move on.
damn straight.
Life is too short to allow what people did in a temporary moment of anger and hatred and jealousy to last a lifetime. When
Damn
you
right.
can when you can make peace with what's happened, when you can learn to let go, just let it go. You start to heal, you start to move on.
Mm,
That's a red pill I'm learning myself. I'm right there with you, brothers. I'm learning it myself. It's
yeah.
hard. It's hard. It ain't easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it, and there wouldn't be no value to it after you figured it out, would it?
If you be a participation trophy kid for real, you know. Hell yeah, man. And with
But
that, I'm glad you even put that out there. You got any more out here for us, outlaw, before we make that run on up out of here and live our lives?
no, I believe that's about it, brother. It's always a pleasure to come on.
It's been an honor and pleasure to have you all. Yeah, you too,
Absolutely.
outlaw. And you know, with that, I'll go ahead and let me see here. This is Dilly Day, and I'll put up here a little something that he did. It was a little something like that, but I'll drop that here in a minute, and find bliss after the red pill is what I'll tell you all. And damn, fellas, I'm now I'm a bit inspired to keep on going and do a little more because I almost fell off that wagon, brother, for real. And
Yeah.
yeah, I had to go on ahead and ruminate on this here topic, and now that I'm starting to see where an opening in this, and then and back on over to that straight and narrow again. Again, thank you all for showing up here. Outlaw Word Up. Shout out to all of you fellas, whether it
Yeah.
be New, Shinobi, Sands, Chaos. Saunders, who else got up in here and said hello? Shit, I gotta move it on around. Yeah, that's right. So it's all saying you can be red pill all you want. If you haven't accepted all, you're forever lost. And you got to do that first. Get all of the worst out your system, and then and only then will you start to doing things. Yeah, big shout to Oni. Big shout to my guy. He was also in here too, Riggs. And for once, you didn't fart in our general direction, so I give you that. That was great. Char
Yeah.
definitely for showing up first. And damn, man, that's about it, fella. I'm out. I think that'll be it. I don't know what's gonna be on with the buckets. I'm still making more buckets, but I'm gonna stay on these ruminations here as well, and we'll ruminate on the topic going forward. Thank you all. Peace.
Peace out.
I guess I'm doing okay. And there goes Jack over there.